topic number 2 is going to lead us actually into the improvised chant that we're going to do. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been speaking with a lot of people about the voice and voice things, physiology things. And one topic that's come up a number of times has to do with the jaw and how to open the mouth when singing. I had a great interview chat with Kimberly Sparks. She has it's a podcast. Is it a show? It's a talk. It's a talk space. It's a connection space called Raw Talk. And she also has an Instagram and a Facebook called Phases and Stages. So check her stuff out. She's amazing. But we had a great chat on that day last week. And we talked about this topic of the jaw and everything that it means to kind of like have all this stuff stored in the jaw. So what I want to go over with you guys tonight, number 1, is talk about kind of some of the implications of the jaw when singing. Obviously, you have to open your mouth, but also how people do it wrong. And yes, it is possible to open your mouth the wrong way when you're singing. It sounds crazy. You think, how is it possible to like open my mouth wrong? It's possible. It's also possible to breathe incorrectly. So there's a lot of stuff that it's possible to do incorrectly when you're singing, or rather it adds to more attention. So first of all, the jaw is so extremely important to our singing. It is what articulates or allows the articulation with the tongue, of course, the articulation of consonants. It helps create the vowel space. With the open mouth, of course, the sound can come out. But on an energetic level, the jaw is where we carry so much of our social and psychological and spiritual programming. You'll notice people sometimes, maybe they're people who inside feel angry or they haven't expressed themselves, so they'll have their mouth closed all the time. And you'll notice this muscle here, this jaw muscle pulsing. When I do it, it doesn't happen because I actually haven't, been like squeezing this muscle, tightening my jaw over and over again for decades. But you'll notice that other people aren't able to open their mouth very wide at all. The jaw is very, the lower jaw, the mandible is very fixed. Other people have a super relaxed jaw, and it's like their mouth is open all the time. But there's always something stored in the jaw. If we are afraid to speak, if we have shame, if we have a feeling of guilt, it usually is getting saved up here. And that's just like a short overview of the stuff that can happen in the jaw. So how does this relate to singing? When we are singing, and I'm probably going to say this a million times over the next X number of years because it's a true a million times, we most often get too involved in the process of singing. We do too much. When we open our mouth to sing, we're often opening too wide or we're opening too far. We're trying to make space to sing. We're trying to open our mouth to sing, and it's too much for what the musculature and the joints and everything in here actually wants to do naturally. This hasn't been helped by what we see in pop culture. If you watch a music video and you see people, singing with their microphone and it's, the more they're doing with their mouth during melisma or during a long note, the more they're doing here with their mouth and the more intense it is, the more it's emotional and the more that it feels like they're doing stuff and, it's so emotional. They're working so hard. But that's actually not how singing ideally is if you want to be singing in like a free and a liberated way. That stuff over time, that extra tension can cause a lot of issues, including vocal nodules, voice issues, and these kind of things, because the whole body, is connected to itself. So if there's tension in one place, that tension is going to, by cause and effect, start moving through the whole system. So, all right, we're going to work on this together. First, all right. The jaw essentially opens and closes through the temporomandibular joint. Did I say that right? I did. Temporomandibular joint, also known as the TMJ, okay? You hear about people having TMJ problems or TMJ pain. That has to do with this joint up here. The joint is right here next to the ear, and you can notice it if you open and close your mouth. You'll notice this ball kind of pop out. Now, this joint is responsible for 3 movements or 3 sets of movements. You have protrusion and retraction, so that moving the jaw forward and back. You have lateral movement, which is side to side. That's what we do when we're chewing. We do that and we do this when we're chewing. And then you have elevation and depression, which is opening and closing the mouth. There are different parts of the joint that are responsible for the different movements. So for the first two, for forward and back and side to side, it's the upper part of the joint that's responsible for the movement. For the elevation, for opening and closing the mouth, it is actually the lower part of the joint that is responsible. So why am I telling you all this? Because physiology is important. A lot of times when you understand how something works, it takes that emotional charge out of it and lets you approach it in a more neutral way. And you're not going to then go down the rabbit hole of self-sabotage because you think your jaw's horrible. No, now you know how it works. So opening and closing the mouth for singing. Put your fingers here on this ball and open your mouth like you would to sing. Ah, ah. You feel how that joint, it activates and you can feel that ball pop out? Ah, okay. That's not what we want. That's not necessary. What's happening when we do that is the mouth is not only opening down, but it's pulling forward. You're activating the whole joint. What we want to do instead is instead of this, we want to allow the mandible, the lower jaw, to pivot back. So we're not opening this way, we're opening this way. So put your fingers here and allow the jaw to just pivot back. You're going to feel now that this joint does not activate the same way. It's much more relaxed. So I like to for years I've called this idiot face. I should probably think of a new term for it. But idiot face. This is the face also you see with opera singers, right? When they're singing and they're doing, all these insane melismas and they're going through all this thing. You might you might notice the mouth opening and closing a little bit, but there's not a lot happening here because this space is relaxed and here is a little elevated in the cheeks so that the vocal apparatus stays loose and stays malleable. Okay. So a good way to keep a check on this when you're singing, first of all, before you sing, just sit here for a little while. You can use the back of your hand on your cheek. You can sense between the space between the teeth that stays open. Or you can use 2 fingers here, 1 or 2 fingers depending upon how big your hand is. And just breathe with your mouth open, but with it open in this singing way with the bottom jaw pivoted towards the back. You'll probably notice at the beginning that there's some point that your body wants to contract and it wants to bring the jaw back together. Don't let it do that. Keep it open and relaxed. Okay? Then, if you want to sound or you want to sing something, and we'll practice that then in the chant, you breathe in and out. So breathing in is breathing in, breathing out is singing. Yeah? You breathe in and out with the same position. Ha, ha. Okay? And if you want to use like a hum or sing on an M, this stays open. You just close the mouth. Ha, ma, ma. Okay? What that does is that allows the space for the air to move through. It keeps the resonator open. And it also gives you space so that when the jaw is relaxed, the tongue and the larynx and all that stuff are going to stay more relaxed as well. So that's a very technical explanation, but it's very important. Just something as simple as keep your mouth open, breathe through your open mouth, sing through your open mouth can do wonders to make singing easier, especially if you want to sing, to express some soul stuff, some, your spirit. And as is most often in singing, it's usually the very simple things that are the truth. So the more complicated and complex we make things, usually the more in our own way we are for singing. So that was the second question that we're talking